This is Fred Beck from Fred Talks Fighting. I'm joined over Zoom all the way in Brazil. I'm joined by Joe Fournier. Joe, how's Brazil treating you?
Wonderful. The Brazilians are very, let's say, welcoming.
Is there a language barrier? You got to translate to a few. How'd you cope with that issue?
Language of love, baby.
Language of love. All right. What are you doing out there? Just chilling? Business, work? What's happening?
Yeah, nah, just chilling, relaxing. I'm down in Florianopolis, which is kind of like the Mykonos of Brazil. It's Carnival week, so there's gonna be loads of fun things to do, good parties, and yeah, I'm down at Casa Fournier, Florianopolis, baby.
I know you got lovely little. Lots of people do interviews in their rooms, like I do, but with like a boring white background. It's nice you got this kind of a very interesting background, which is good to see, certainly.
I got the sea right there. I got the beach right behind me, and the swimming pool right behind me.
You have it all, Joe. You have it all. What's going on with you though, Joe? Boxing wise, you been in the gym recently?
I've been just staying fit, training, not much boxing, but running and doing a bit of weights, still keeping the abs popping. And yeah, just been relaxing. I went to Tulum to all my clubs down there, made sure all was good for New Year's and all that. Then I went down to Argentina, which was beautiful, Buenos Aires and Patagonia. Did a bit of horse riding, and then now I'm in Brazil, little South America tour.
Where are
But
you off
not
to?
much boxing, no.
Where are you off to next after Brazil?
I haven't decided yet. We're on like a decision, maybe Miami, wherever's fun, we just chase the sun. I'm retired.
Whatever's fun, we chase the sun. That's a very, very good
Yeah,
quote on your gravestone. Whatever's fun, we chase. Okay, so Misfits
exactly.
fights. You've spoken to Mams. Any possibilities of you fighting this year, or is it just a one-time thing in KSI back last May?
No, we had a 3 fight deal, which was, was publicized. But no, I obviously, I'm very specific because I have a great life. I really enjoy it. I'm very humbled to have this life that I worked very hard for from the age of 13. As you know, I was a dishwasher. So it's a long way away from a hot kitchen in Hounslow
So was I.
washing.
I was a dishwasher as well back in the day doing pot
There you
wash.
go. Yeah, yeah. So I was in Lahore Karai in Hounslow, the curry house, from the age of 13, washing really, really hot skillets, to get a pound an hour or whatever it was. But now, you work hard, you want to enjoy it. So I made very clear that I'm only interested in big fights, fun fights, things that are, we can have a bit of a laugh with. I already earned my stripes as a pro, for many years. I already got my well ranking, my well belts. And now it's about the iconic fight. So the KSI fight in Wembley, obviously that's iconic. I grew up in Hounslow, 5 minutes away. It's very weird because if that fight was a professional organization, not saying that Misfits is not professional, but I'm talking like that was a matchroom fight or that was a Queensbury fight. There'll be a rematch straight away. There'll be like, it doesn't matter. They're not like these excuses. Oh, there's no hype. Oh, there was no. It'll be a rematch, right? Someone illegally elbows the other person. There's a rematch. So for me, it was a bit weird that they just avoided every conversation, everything at a rematch. It went to Tommy and then got burnt and got caught out by fighting Tommy when they just should have fought me again. So really, what are the interesting fights? If you were me, Fred, what would be a fun fight? The rematch, obviously. Uh, Logan or Jake, because they create a lot of hype. They're big stars in their world of podcasting, YouTubing, and Jake now in boxing. So it'd be a fun fight, a good test because Jake's I think really improved a lot and takes it extremely seriously. Trains like a full time fighter, like it's his career now. And I think that, Tommy, because he's managed to beat KSI and Jake, that would also be an interesting fight, right? Because there's no point anyone else. You with me? Because none of the I fought the guy that at the time no one had ever lost. He never lost to anyone, but he didn't beat me. So I'm the only one. Still, none of them have ever managed to beat. So essentially, that's the fights I want is either the Pauls, KSI rematch, or Tommy just simply because the others don't want it.
Any ex-UFC fighters like Tyron Woodley, Jorge Masvidal, you kind of lingering around?
is that really interesting? Like Tyron Woodley, he's lost twice to Jake. Second time in really convincing fashion. Got knocked unconscious. Jorge Masvidal could be interesting. That could be an interesting fight. He's a tough guy. He's a good fighter. Someone I like. I respect. He commentated on my fight against David A.
Hmm.
So I have a lot of respect for that guy. I'd happily, be interested in engaging with fight talks with Jorge Masvidal. Um, like that would be interesting. Tyron Woodley, not really. Like what? It's like again, like we go back to professional boxing. The guy has been knocked out, beat twice, second time knocked unconscious, doesn't hold a title. Why would Why would that be a headline fight?
Okay. It's definitely interesting for
You see what I'm
sure.
trying to say?
Yeah.
Like, would that sell? Like, when everyone, oh fucking hell, the phone's ringing off the hook. Tyron Woodley's fighting again. Like, he's a nice bloke. From what I've seen in his interviews, I've never met him personally. He obviously was a tremendous UFC fighter. So I'm not discrediting his career in any way. But when just pertaining to this isolated moment in let's say crossover boxing, is he a big draw that's going to sell out a huge arena that's going to make it really fun like me and KSI did in Wembley, where we sold, as you know, 360,000 buys. That means we were both a big draw that did a lot, so I don't think really he warrants that.
What about you versus Darren Till?
Oh, no one's really asked me that before. I like Darren Till. He's a good boxer too. He's tough. It'll be a tough fight. He's a good guy.
He
I've got
also
a lot
talks
of
a lot. He
respect
also
and
talks a
time
lot
for
of
that.
trash as well. So it'll
Oh
be
yeah,
you're quite witty yourself, so it'll be quite good back and forth in the presses.
yeah. No, I like him. I like him. I'd enjoy the trash talking with Darren Till because he's someone that, again, he's a great fighter in his field and someone that I respect a lot. And he's a cool dude and he's funny. He's like lighthearted. He's a good banter. He's exciting. I heard he was doing his own promotion like a few months ago that he was maybe doing his own style of crossover boxing. I don't know if that's still happening, but yeah, someone had mentioned that to me, like about interested in fighting him or not fighting him. I was like, yeah, I'm down. Yeah, I already said yes that I would be interested in that fight. That's what I'm saying. Is like they're all cool, fun fights. That's what I'm looking at. The other guys, that were in Misfits. I don't think any of them really have become like main event, big pay per view headline guys yet. And if they were to do that, and it was interesting and people liked it, then I'd be. But really and truly, is like you got to be motivated, Fred. You're motivated to build your company. That's why you interview me when you got better things to do, probably. But is you're motivated to grow your company because it's an interesting interview. Yeah. For me, it's like, all right, why am I going to take 3 months out of my life, get back in the gyms, get punched in the head, for 30 odd rounds a week, put my body through it at 41 years old, if it's not going to be this big spectacular event at the end, you know, and that's kind of like, well, what I'm looking for in these fights. And that's why when I saw that KSI, he says, I've relinquished my belt. I don't know how he's relinquished his belt when he already lost, but let's say in his head he hasn't lost. But how have you not fought me then? Because in the contract there was a rematch clause, but only could agree to it. This is what I'm saying. It's all one sided in his thing. So I was like, you got to still have this fight before you retire or whatever, because it is true. When he lost to Tommy Fury, he wanted a rematch, right?
Mm.
When he didn't win against me, why did he not want a rematch? Because once you see the second round, you start to see I got his timing, I was got tagged, I punch much harder, and you just thought, now he knows my timing. He's done a camp, gone straight to second camp. Well, I would have been ready to fight for real, and it would have been an easy knockout win for me.
Do you
And
think
they're not stupid.
do you reckon that they don't make the Jake Paul one or that part's not made and they don't get the like Hoy Masvidal one or anything like that?
I don't think Jake Paul's interested. I think Jake Paul is going to, from what I've seen online and from what like kind of I could, because I've been where Jake is now. Is he 26, 27?
Yeah, around that age, yeah.
See, when you're that age, when I was kind of like maybe I was a bit older than him when I did genuinely want to fight Canelo. I did genuinely want to fight Dimitri Bivol. I did want to test myself against the best of the best in the world because, when you have that champions mentality, you just got it. Whether you win or lose, you don't think about it because you really believe that once the chips are down, when my heart's in it, everything's in it, I want to go there and fight that guy. And I think if you see Jake, what he's doing now is he's kind of fighting journeyman and training himself, getting his kind of like boxing level up as a pro boxer. Not these big spectacular fights that are crossover. They're really interesting. That are like, oh, who would win? Like Masvidal, Joe Fournier, because Masvidal's a great striker, but he was great in the UFC. But Joe's a better boxer, but Masvidal's 5 years younger. And there's all these variables that make crossover boxing incredible. Whereas I think Jake is legitimately trying to go down. Let me fight 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 journeymen. Get my record to 20-0. Let me fight for a regional title, maybe the US national title, WBA, WBC. Let me then go into the Intercontinental. Then maybe fight for the title I had, the international WBA title, and then try and call out, be ranked in the top 10 like I was, and try and get to Bivol, try and get to Canelo, try and get to these guys. So. And by the way, en route, Jake's going to make way more money doing that because that's 20 fights later that, 15 are gimmies probably, easy fights because that's what all boxers do. Your first 10, 15 fights are to train you for the big fight. It's live training, live rounds, as they say. So why would he then risk all that to fight KSI to make $5 million, $10 million when he does that anyway? It's not like he needs the money. So if he's going in that direction, that KSI fight's finished. It's never going to happen. KSI losing to Tommy ended that fight. It would have made sense if KSI after me.
They both lost to Tommy, so they're both on the same level in terms of negotiating.
No, because Jake then came back and beat Nate Diaz as a really tough, durable opponent, right? So KSI never beat me. KSI never beat Tommy. That's two non-wins, right? Whereas Jake bounced back, beat Nate Diaz. Nate Diaz beat KSI for me.
Does Jake beat KSI? Does Jake Paul beat KSI for you?
Yes. Yeah, no problem.
He does. Is it competitive?
Well, all fights are competitive. KSI is a warrior. He's a tough kid. He's not a schmuck. Do you know what I mean? He's got a good team around him and Mans and all that. They're not going to put him in the ring if he wasn't ready, But I think chips are down. If you look at the training Jake does, lives it. Hyperbaric chambers, built up, full-time coaches, strength conditioning coaches, year-round flying with him, nutrition. Like he trains like Canelo trains. He trains like Dimitri Bivol trains, right? KSI trains like I train, where fuck around most of the year doing other things. Oh, we got a fight coming up. We'll train. Do 3 months, dedicate ourselves, and goes back out. Whereas Jake, genuinely, from what I've seen, what I've heard, different sparring partners, this is now his life. And he wants to be, by the time he's 31, a world champion in the field of boxing. So, of course, he's better. Do you know what I mean? If you take a guy who in race car driving and he goes and literally buys Ferrari race team and races every day. And then you got a guy who's talented but races, 6 times a year. Who's going to win? No, it's not about talent. You know what I mean? It's about who's putting in the hours, the repetitive punches, the instinct, all those things that happen. So would he just go in there and smash KSI? No, I think KSI is a durable, tough guy, not someone to be overlooked. I said it before, he's extremely fast. That was the only thing that shocked me on that. I don't think he has any punch power. There was nothing that worried me about his punch power that everyone spoke about. As you saw, he couldn't put Tommy away, couldn't put me away, besides with a tremendous elbow. But he's fast. But Jake negates that pretty easily. He's got much more experience, much better technically, much bigger frame. So whatever weight they fight at. And I don't think Jake's interested anymore. Jake's made millions doing whatever he's doing. And I hope he continues to do so, and I hope KSI continues to do well. There's no bad blood between me and any of these guys. But if you're just asking me facts, I speak the facts, Fred.
I
You
know.
know,
That's why everyone loves you on the channel, Joe. Just one last thing then. Do you think what do you reckon Jake stops KSI? KSI stops Jake? How does he even
Jake's
handle it?
Jake stops KSI. Jake stops KSI the same way I'd stop KSI because in any fight longer than 2-3 rounds, KSI just fades. You know, for me, and his natural is that super fast twitch. Skeletal frame, the style he is. Whereas you've seen Jake like do well, like I mean, against Anderson Silva, like through the rounds, he was under pressure. He did well. Nate Diaz again did well. Tommy, I think the Tommy Jake fight was way closer than KSI against Tommy fight. You know what I mean? Like he drops Tommy in the last round. So if you look at it over a period of time, I think he in the second and the last third of the fight, he would stop KSI.
Okay, interesting.
And I
Interesting.
think it would be similar. I think with me and KSI had a rematch, it would be the same thing.
Hopefully
And
it will.
that's why it'd be interesting for me to fight Jake because I think that when I called Jake out, I would have smashed him in 2 seconds, whenever it was, when he fought Nate Robinson. And I think he's bridging the gap. And I think that'd be a really, really competitive fight. And it's a fight I would relish on taking on a big show. And I think also like another guy that I think I'd enjoy a fight was Logan. I know he's done more WWE now, and he said he's not going to box anymore, but that'd be a really fun fight because he's super muscular. He's got really long limbs, really long arms, and he wings. So it actually could be a good like for the fans. It could be an insane because if he catches someone, he is going to drop him. He's a massive bloke. You know what I mean? Like he's much bigger than me frame wise. And so I'd like to, have a proper scrap because I like to get into, as the fight goes on, I get warmed up. I like to kind of make it a little bit of a dog fight. And Logan likes that, doesn't he? You saw you weren't scared of, Dildo Dennis, a little kid.
Well, there's one guy for you there, you and Dylan Danis. If that could ever, if Dylan
Oh,
comes
God,
back,
Dillon Dennis never going to fight again. He shit himself in that fight the whole time. He was looking at Logan Paul's feet more than anything else. He's just exemplary. You know how FaZe is like the world champion of Call of Duty.
that's
Dillon Dennis
yeah.
is the
You
world.
should have t-shirts. That was so funny. You should have t-shirts made saying "Call of Duty World
Well,
Champion." That's so funny.
Dillon Dennis is the world champion of tweeting. That's the only thing. That's as dangerous as he's ever going to get.
The Twitter space, I think
Actually, you know what would be a good fight is FaZe against Dillon Dennis,
FaZe Temper
the
Dylan.
world champion of tweeting versus the world champion of Call of Duty. I'd watch that. I'd pay the pay-per-view, mans. You
Oh,
can't. He would never fight me in a billion years, let alone a million years.
what I was saying before is that Twitter space where you and Dylan Danis going back and forth was pretty entertaining.
Yeah,
It kind of reminded me of like the British guy versus the American guy, and kind of they don't understand the humor, and British people are very, very, very witty. So that's
yeah.
where
He understood the humor. He just knew he was outclassed. The
I
funniest thing I've ever seen was when he tried to punch the security of Logan Paul when he got in the ring, and he was scared to even throw the punch. He's like, "Should I? I should do this for the cameras," but he couldn't punch, so it was hilarious. Oh
that was
shit, that
certainly
guy's
yeah.
such a joke.
Logan won that by disqualification in the end, even though Logan would have got the decision. But Joe, I do appreciate you coming on, hopping on the Zoom, me interrupting your lovely holiday in Brazil. But hopefully we'll
No
see
worries,
you
buddy.
soon when you maybe have some fight news.
Yeah, yeah. Everyone knows where I am, and there's definitely I can feel something coming, bubbling in the waters. Let's say it like that.
It's good. You kind of by doing this interview, you're keeping your foot in the door. You're keeping your toes in the water. You're kind of seeing what's out there.
Well, this is my last year. Like I got this. This is the last year I'll fight by my 42nd birthday. Doesn't matter who offers me 100 million, 20 million, 50 million. I'm not fighting anymore. It's the last year I'm open to it. And then after this year, I'm just gonna retire. I think like, you got to enjoy your life and you got to enjoy what you're doing. And I'm still kind of excited about boxing a little bit now, but definitely the motivation has dwindled over the years. I've done it a long time. So yeah, if I get a fight this year, one, maybe two, and then that's it. I'm calling it a day. And if I get none, well, it's been a good career. I've had a great time and headlined some huge shows and still undefeated, baby.
Still undefeated. Well, technically, yeah. And he asked you on a veto. Joe,
There's no tech. There's no technically. It's a fact. Let's stick to facts.
let's stick to the facts. Awesome. Well, Joe, I do really appreciate you coming on. I'll see you soon. Thank you very much.
Thanks, buddy. Take care, mate. Bye.